The top stories: a prominent agency underscores the significance of collaborative partnerships for economic growth. And 2024 shows record heat driven by climate change. Hello and welcome to EBC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism, with the latest news highlights of the hour. I am Tabitha John. Do stay with us. In a recent meeting between State Minister for Education Ayele Cheshate and Finland's ambassador to Ethiopia, Sinikka Anttila, discussion centered on enhancing collaboration within the education sector. Minister Ayele expressed appreciation for Finland's support of special needs education in Ethiopia, emphasizing the significance of expanding cooperation in this vital area. Ambassador Anttila echoed the sentiment, underscoring the promising prospects for further growth in bilateral educational initiatives. Ethiopian ambassador to China engaged in talks with leaders from the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research and the Beijing Academy of Agriculture and Forestry Sciences in the premises of the embassy in Beijing. Ambassador Tefera Derbo's discussions with the leadership of the two institutions centered on enhancing cooperation between the two organizations with the goal of establishing a memorandum of understanding aimed at advancing technology to improve crop and livestock production. Ambassador Tefera praised the leadership of both institutions for their commitment to collaboration under the framework of FOCAC and BRI, and underscored the embassy's dedication to facilitating the development of this partnership for the mutual benefit of both countries.
Modern humans originated in Ethiopia means that everybody evolved from these ancient populations that lived in what is now Ethiopia about 150, 160,000 years ago. Those are the populations that spread to the rest of Africa before they went out of Africa, right? So basically, you can say that, modern humans originated in Africa. Definitely, there's no question about that. But once they showed up as modern humans, they've spread to different parts of Africa. In the end, yes, everybody can say we're all Ethiopians. We're all Africans. That's like, no doubt, nobody doubts that. Every human being that lives on every corner of the world, they trace their origins to Africa. If you want to be specific, then of course they trace their origins back to Ethiopia.
A prominent development agency underscored the significance of collaborative partnerships for economic growth and sustainable development in Ethiopia. Approached by the Ethiopian News Agency, head of the GIZ Ethiopia program pointed out that the agency's successful collaborations with government institutions and the private sector are characterized by cooperation and constructive outcomes. Johannes van Taun takes a closer look at the rest of the story.
The German development agency GIZ is playing a key role in fostering private sector growth in Ethiopia. GIZ's program head in Ethiopia, Anna Walderman, recently spoke about the agency's work, emphasizing the cooperative and constructive relationships it has forged with Ethiopian government institutions and the private sector. The program head explained that GIZ's approach is multifaceted, offering policy advice to create a better business environment, strengthening business associations, and working directly with companies to enhance their capabilities. She highlighted the agency's support for public-private dialogue as a key mechanism for achieving economic development, fostering consensus between government and the private sector.
We are working on different levels to promote private sector development. For example, we work with government to provide policy advisory in the field of creating a better business environment. We also work with business associations to help strengthen them so that they can deliver better services for their members, and they can advocate for the policy changes that they want to see. And we also work with companies directly to increase their production capacity so that they can produce more, sell more, create more jobs. In general, I would say our partnership and cooperation is cooperative and constructive.
GIZ's work extends into various sectors, including agriculture and textiles, where the organization is actively working to improve value chains and boost productivity. Waldaman cited a successful project that brought 22 international buyers to Ethiopia, who together has an annual turnover of over 1 billion euros. This effort is expected to generate jobs, particularly for women, and contribute to the country's export earning while showcasing Ethiopia, the rising manufacturing hub for the fashion industry.
We believe, for example, a general and wide partnership, like in this public-private dialogue, are key. It's key that the private sector and the public sector are talking to each other, that they generate a joint understanding of what is needed to promote the economic development in the country, and that these dialogues also go from the talk to the actual walk and implement the recommendations. And in that field, we as GIZ are happy to support, particularly this PPD. So in the agricultural field, we work in different value chains to help strengthen the value chain for certain products. And we have a specific project on textile, garment and leather.
GIZ's partnership, as Waldaman emphasized, demonstrates the potential of collaboration between development agencies, government and the private sector to drive economic growth, create jobs and foster sustainable development in Ethiopia.
And finally, people around the world suffered an average of 41 extra days of dangerous heat this year because of human-caused climate change, according to a group of scientists who also said that climate change worsened much of the world's damaging weather throughout 2024. The analysis from World Weather Attribution and Climate Central researchers comes at the end of a year that shattered climate record after climate record heat across the globe made 2024 likely to be its hottest ever measured, and a slew of other fatal weather events spared few. Shagao Yamata has more from Africa News.
People around the world suffered the effects of climate change a lot more in 2024 because of humans, according to a group of scientists who have been closely examining 29 extreme weather events this year that killed at least 3,700 people and displaced millions.
The poorest, least developed countries on the planet are the places that are experiencing even higher numbers. So places like Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Kiribati are experiencing 150 or more days just this year that are at dangerous levels of heat that we can attribute directly to climate change.
This year, the planet experienced some of the hottest days ever measured, and it is hottest yet summer with a 13-month heat streak that just barely broke.
The finding is devastating but utterly unsurprising. Climate change did play a role, and often a major role, in most of the events we studied, making heat, droughts, tropical cyclones, and heavy rainfall more likely and more intense across the world, destroying lives and livelihoods of millions, and often uncounted numbers of people.
Scientists say that the results show that more needs to be done.
We need to adapt. Functioning early action is often what makes the difference between high and low death tolls in these extreme events, and early action only works with a high awareness and of the dangers of extreme weather events.
The UN Environment Programme warns if led to less significantly, more climate extremes could be expected in the future.
You're watching ABC, a reminder of the top stories. A prominent agency underscores the significance of collaborative partnerships for economic growth. And 2024 shows record heat driven by climate change. That's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John Money. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.